Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in as Milford TV is happy to once again bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. This afternoon we have hit the road. We are down at Silver Lake Regional High School in Kingston, Massachusetts, to bring you coverage of the quarterfinal round of the MIAA Division I South Softball Playoffs. Today it is your Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks visiting the #1 seed in the bracket, the Silver Lake Lady Lakers. The rivalry renewed once again. This has been quite a rivalry in the making over the last couple of seasons. These teams have played each other. This will be the 4th meeting over the last 2 seasons, a regular season meeting and a playoff meeting in each of the last 2 years. Of course, we remember those matchups from last year very vividly. Milford winning an epic 11-inning contest at Milford High School by a final score of 4-3, ending Silver Lake's bid for an undefeated season last year. Silver Lake, of course, getting their revenge in the 2015 playoffs, beating Milford on this very field almost on this exact day a year ago in the quarterfinal round. So these teams find themselves matched up in the same round once again here in 2016. And of course, they also matched up again on the regular season this year, a game here again at Silver Lake that the Lakers were able to win by a final score of 5-2. So Silver Lake has been able to win 3 of the 4 meetings over the last 2 years. Milford looking to answer that. Milford coming off of a terrific win in the first round of these playoffs, defeating New Bedford just 48 hours ago as this game gets ready to get underway. A 9-2 victory for Milford over the Lady Whalers. A lot going right in that game. Great offensive output and a quality pitching performance by Allie Atherton. But of course, all eyes now on this quarterfinal matchup. Silver Lake unable to complete the undefeated regular season last year. Well, they were able to come back and do it here in 2016. Perfect through the regular season. They then steamrolled their way here to these quarterfinals, defeating a familiar foe, I should say, for Milford, the Mansfield Lady Hornets. Silver Lake was able to defeat Mansfield in the first round by a final of 5-0. Just 2 hits allowed in that game for Silver Lake's Maddy Barone, so this should be a fantastic matchup this afternoon. We're about to have the national anthem here at field level, so we will be back with starting lineups and the game's first pitch next here on Milford TV. Back inside the softball field here at Silver Lake Regional High School in Kingston, just moments away from quarterfinal action in the playoffs. Milford taking on Silver Lake, the 8th-seeded Lady Scarlet Hawks taking on the #1-seeded Silver Lake Lady Lakers. Silver Lake, a 20-0 regular season. They've tacked on an additional playoff victory in the first round, again, as we mentioned, to Mansfield. Milford, a 16-4 regular season, notching a victory in their first-round matchup against New Bedford. And these teams vying for a spot in the Division I South semifinal, which would take place later on this week. And as we get set for the first pitch, we will bring you the starting lineups for these 2 teams. As always, we'll start off with the visiting lineup, and for today, that is the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks. Leading it off is the left fielder, Kate Irwin. Emily Pierre-Gustavo once again plays shortstop and bats second. Jess Tomaso bats third and plays first base, with the center fielder, Maggie Farrell, batting cleanup. Caitlin DeCapua bats 5th and plays third base, with the catcher Megan Jakes batting 6th. Maddie Bonvino plays second base and bats 7th, with Emily Hartman, the designated player, batting 8th, and Shannon Cormier bats 9th and plays right field. And for the Silver Lake Lady Lakers, their lineup looks like this. Kelly Danahy, the second baseman, leads off, with Caroline Vedetto, the shortstop, batting second. Emily Critch, the catcher, bats third, with Maddy Barone, the starting pitcher, batting 4th. Hannah Johnson bats 5th and plays third base, with Shannon Grindle, the first baseman, batting 6th. Jill Richards plays left field and bats 7th, with Madeline Critch batting 8th, playing center field, and Anna Batista bats 9th and plays right field. And this game quickly getting underway, about 6 minutes ahead of the scheduled first pitch time. Quarterfinal action underway as Kate Irwin gets it started for the Lady Hawks, facing the 2016 Gatorade Player of the Year for the state of Massachusetts, the starting pitcher for Silver Lake, Maddy Barone. A 1-ball, 1-strike count as Irwin looks to bunt, as she so often does out of this leadoff spot, but sends it foul. The count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. Kate Irwin, Emily Pierre-Gustavo, and Jess Tomaso once again pace this Milford offense. Perfect conditions here at field level. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and it's waved at and missed. And Barone able to open the game with a strikeout of Kate Irwin. Maddy Barone, 20 victories in the regular season. She tacked on her 21st in the playoffs, so she has started each and every game for the Silver Lake team this year. She delivers ball 1 to Emily Pierre-Gustavo, who now promptly sends a pitch on the ground foul over by the third base dugout, occupied by the visiting Lady Scarlet Hawks. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, and the base is empty as Pierre-Gustavo takes a pitch high for ball 2. Emily Pierre-Gustavo, the lone offensive bright spot when these two teams met up in the regular season, as she sends this pitch to the backstop, evening the count at 2-2. Pierre-Gustavo blasted a 2-run home run off of Maddy Barone in the team's regular season meeting back in late April. But it was not enough as Milford came up short in that game 5-2. The next pitch on the way, and this is sent in the air out to left center field, back at first, and now in a few paces is Madeline Critch. She is able to make the catch. Good contact for Emily Pierre-Gustavo, but did not have the distance. And a fly ball out brings out number 2. So I believe I misspoke during the intro. I said Silver Lake has taken 3 of 4 meetings. It's 2 of 3 meetings to this point, this being the 4th meeting in the last 2 years. So these teams, again, have really started to build up a rivalry, taking an opportunity to play a non-conference game in each of the last 2 regular seasons and becoming regular playoff opponents, as there you see a vicious cut from Jess Tomaso, looking to put Milford on the scoreboard early. Instead, the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. Tomaso ready for the next pitch, late again on the fastball from Barone. These Milford hitters once again needing to get the timing down on the fastball from Barone. Here's the next pitch, it's up high. Tomaso is able to hold off, and it's a 2-ball, 2-strike count, 2 outs, and the base is empty. Milford trying to get something going here in the first. Barone's next pitch, and it is popped up foul, and that will go beyond the field of play off to the right. Barone takes the return throw and gets right back up on the pitching rubber. The windup and the pitch, down and in. Defensively for Silver Lake, it is Emily Critch behind the plate, Hannah Johnson at third, Caroline Vedetto at short, Kelly Danahy at second, and Shannon Grindle at first. Left to right in the outfield, Jill Richards, Madeline Critch, and Anna Batista, as this ball is popped up again in foul ground, but again, it will go beyond the field of play. The head coach for Silver Lake is Tony Pina. Very good head coach that once again has his Silver Lake team in the midst of a deep playoff run. Another 2-2 pitch. This is hit on the ground to shortstop, fielded there by Vedetto. She's able to make the throw to first, and Maddy Barone is able to complete a 1-2-3 top of the first inning. Milford can't get anything done, and so Silver Lake will take their at-bats in the bottom half of this first inning when we return here on Milford TV. Back for the bottom of the first inning here in Kingston. Milford goes 1-2-3 in the top half of the inning, and so now it will be Kelly Danahy, Caroline Vedetto, and Emily Critch coming to the plate against the starting pitcher for the Lady Scarlet Hawks, Allie Atherton, the junior, getting her 2nd straight start in these 2016 playoffs. Pitched very well just 2 days ago at Milford High School, keeping the New Bedford bats in check through most of that game. Ended up allowing just 2 runs late in the game. One of them unearned, an error opening the door for a brief 2-run rally for the Lady Whalers, but that was all they could muster. Atherton pitching very well, and now we'll have to deal with this heavy-hitting Silver Lake offense as this pitch is sent down the left field line, but it is a foul ball. A different vantage point for our broadcast today as we cover the game from beyond the right center field fence. It's a no-ball, 2-strike count on Danahy as Atherton gets ready to deliver her next pitch. Here it comes, and it's down and out of the strike zone. No chase out of Kelly Danahy. A lot of these names are going to sound the same if you tuned into our broadcast for the quarterfinals against Silver Lake a year ago. Both of these teams returning many players from their respective 2015 squads. Danahy hits a ground ball to third base here. Nice play out of the third baseman, Caitlin DeCapua, and she's able to fire across to get out number 1 in the inning. Atherton gets the leadoff batter, and now Caroline Vedetto, the next to come to the plate. As some coordinated cheering comes up out of the Silver Lake dugout down the first base line. First pitch swinging. This is a ground ball through up the middle off the bat of Vedetto out into center field for a 1-out single. Reading the game recap when these two teams met back during the regular season, some of the players on the Silver Lake squad talking about how they had gotten a read on Allie Atherton from their 2 meetings in 2015, and a lot of them were jumping on the first pitch and having success. That was the mindset for Vedetto, and it paid off as she is at first base with 1 out ahead of Emily Critch. Slugging catcher. Critch sends a hard line drive to third base, caught by DeCapua. Another nice play and a snap throw to first base, but Vedetto able to get back just ahead of the throw. What a terrific defensive play out of Caitlin DeCapua. You cannot say it enough. The reaction time that you need at third base in softball, that ball comes at you in a hurry. And DeCapua able to make the play, and then an excellent snap throw across the diamond, nearly got there in time. So now with 2 outs, this ball briefly ricochets away from Jakes, and that's all Vedetto needs to move up into scoring position. A passed ball, and Vedetto moves down to second base. The pitch a ball into now Maddy Barone, the cleanup hitter. Barone not only a terrific pitcher, but also a very strong hitter as well. Here's the pitch. Down in the dirt, this time blocked cleanly by Megan Jakes. Defensively for the Lady Hawks, it is Meg Jakes behind the plate, Caitlin DeCapua at third, Emily Pierre Gustavo at short, Maddie Bonvino at second, and Jess Tomaso at first. Left to right in the outfield, Kate Irwin, Maggie Farrell, and Shannon Cormier. 2 balls and no strikes on Barone. The next pitch is hit hard but foul down the first base line, and that one has our first base cameraman Malcolm Zale tap dancing out of the way. Two balls and 1 strike now on the batter. Wind up and the pitch. This is a tapper foul. It rolls back behind the plate, and the count evens at 2-2. 2 outs in the inning, but a runner in scoring position for Silver Lake. Maddy Barone, the right-handed batter, up at the dish. Atherton back to the center of the circle. Takes the sign from Jakes. Here is the pitch. And this is a line drive out to left center field, and Maggie Farrell is able to make up the ground, and she tracks that fly ball down for out number 3 in the inning. A nice play from the Milford center fielder. Silver Lake strands a runner in scoring position in the first. We've now played one from Silver Lake Regional High School in Kingston, scoreless between the Lakers and the Lady Scarlet Hawks here on Milford TV. Maggie Farrell, after making a good rangy play in the outfield to conclude the bottom of the first, will lead things off in the top of the second. She takes a called strike 1 to open up the at-bat. Now takes a pitch high and tight, evening the count at 1-1. Maggie Farrell, of course, played a pivotal role in Milford's regular season victory over Silver Lake back in 2015, blasting a 2-run home run that tied the game in extra innings. Here she pops one up on the infield, and the first baseman, Shannon Grindle, is able to range in a couple of steps to make the play. So the first 4 batters have been retired in order by Maddy Barone. And that sends us to Caitlin DeCapua. She swings away at the first pitch. A late cut, she fouls it off. With 2 strong offenses, 2 smart offenses like the ones these two teams bring to the table. You know this is going to be a game of adjustments. That's a word we've talked about on many of our broadcasts this season. Milford has done such a great job of adjusting to what a pitcher is doing against them over the course of a game. And it will be important for them to continue to try to make those adjustments against Maddy Barone, who you know is going to bring top-notch stuff throughout this entire game.
Like 12 games in their field.
DeCapua in a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. She sends another pitch foul, this time down the first base line, but it stays in foul territory.
That's why they're all coming to me.
The next pitch, and that's on the outside corner for a called strike 3. Second strikeout for Barone. And she has yet to yield a base runner as we are now 2 outs deep in the top of the second, and that brings us down to the captain, Meg Jakes. Jakes takes the first pitch for a called strike. The 0-1 waved at and missed, and Jakes quickly down in a hole. Meg Jakes with a hit and an RBI in the game against New Bedford here. A half-hearted swing, but she's able to float it out into shallow center field for the first Scarlet Hawks hit of the day. Looked like she was trying to check the swing. Instead, she made contact, and it works out in her favor as, again, she floats it out into center field, gives Milford a 2-out base runner, and Jakes will quickly give way to Antonia Bonina as a courtesy runner at first. And that will give Maddie Bonvino a chance to come to the plate in the inning. Bonvino digging in now on the right side. And the first pitch from Barone is in for a called strike 1. Consistently getting ahead of batters through these first 2 innings. That is what you would expect out of a pitcher of Barone's caliber. And now a rising fastball. Maddie Bonvino tries to catch up to it, but cannot. And now she is down, no balls and 2 strikes. Batting with that runner at first. The next pitch from Barone is high for a ball. Bonina takes off, and the throw gets down to second base in plenty of time. It was there waiting for Bonina. And it will be a caught stealing that ends the inning. So Antonia Bonina taking the chance, taking off with the pitch, but a hard fastball and a good accurate throw from Emily Critch brings the 3rd out of the inning. Milford cannot score. We head to the bottom of the second. 0-0 between Milford and Silver Lake here on Milford TV. Milford TV continuing our coverage of the 2016 MIAA playoff tournament for softball in the quarterfinal round of the Division I South tournament, pitting the 8th seed Milford against the 1 seed Silver Lake. We're scoreless heading into the top of the 3rd inning. Milford, one of 3 Hockomock League teams still alive in the Division I South bracket. I did misspeak during our previous broadcast back on Sunday. Of course, overlooking the other half of the bracket, which contained a couple of heavy hitters in Taunton and King Philip. They have advanced to their quarterfinal round matchup where they will actually square off with one another. That game is also taking place today. It will be under the lights at Taunton High School at 7 o'clock later on this evening. So only one Hockomock League team will emerge from that matchup between Taunton and KP. That is on the other side of the bracket. For now, our eyes will continue to be on this matchup here between Milford and Silver Lake. And we get started with the bottom of the 2nd inning. Allie Atherton deals in strike 1 to Hannah Johnson. Allie will have to tread very carefully dealing with Hannah Johnson, who got the better of Atherton throughout the game when these 2 teams met up in the regular season. Johnson takes a pitch apparently just outside, evening the count at 1-1. Johnson going a perfect 3 for 3 at the plate in the April meeting of these 2 teams, drove in 4 of the 5 runs Silver Lake scored, so she was extremely productive. And really the biggest offensive reason Silver Lake was able to walk away with the victory. And Hannah was quoted after the game talking about how she oftentimes looked for that first pitch to drive from Atherton, and more often than not, she had success. She's ahead in the count here, 2 balls and 1 strike, so she hasn't been quite as aggressive. Here's the next pitch. That's taken outside and low. 3 balls and a strike now. Atherton in danger of issuing a leadoff walk. Johnson, Shannon Grindle, and Jill Richards, the three batters expected this inning. Here comes the 3-1, and it is very high for ball 4. It pops out of the mid of Jake's. She can't find it. Johnson trotting down to first base. Not what Atherton's looking to do. Definitely not a good idea to walk the leadoff batter with this lineup. So Johnson now at first base ahead of Shannon Grindle, the first baseman. You can see there continues to be a lot of coordinated cheering, clapping coming out of the Silver Lake dugout, trying to get that competitive advantage from the sidelines. A good fastball there out of Atherton. It gets it past the bat of Grindle. When these two teams met in the quarterfinal last year, it ended up being a 2-0 victory for Silver Lake. As this time Atherton takes something off of the pitch, but she falls behind again, 2 balls and a strike. Atherton had near no-hit stuff through the early innings, but Silver Lake was able to scratch 2 runs across in the 4th inning. As this pitch is popped straight up, Jake's giving it a look, but that is out of play. One of those runs scoring in the 4th inning on an RBI ground out. The second run came on a solo home run off the bat of Shannon Grindle. And those were the only 2 runs in the game, as both pitchers really brought their A game, but Barone was virtually unhittable through the entire game. Milford only had 2 hits in that entire quarterfinal matchup, so looking for better success here today. This pitch to Grindle is driven in the air out to left field, but not deep. Kate Irwin is able to range in to make the catch. And there is 1 down. Hannah Johnson remains at first base now with Jill Richards, the left fielder, coming to the plate. Once again, we see a predominantly right-handed lineup. The first pitch of the at-bat, and that is in for a strike.
Yeah.
Jill Richards, one of the few newer faces. A junior on the squad. We did not see her in the starting lineup back in 2015. But here she's able to deliver a pitch out to center field. Back goes Maggie Farrell. She is able to make the catch. So we've seen a lot of balls hit in the air by Silver Lake today, but so far they've all stayed in the yard. A fly ball to left, now a fly ball to center. And so now 2 down in the inning, a chance for Atherton to get out of it after the leadoff walk. But first, she must deal with Madeline Critch getting the start in center field. And Critch foul tips the first pitch into the mid of Meg Jakes for strike 1. Madeline Critch, a senior on this squad. Here comes the 0-1. Thought about it, but kept the bat head back and takes a called strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Johnson continues to be poised there at first base. Atherton nods her approval to the sign. Here is the pitch. And it is a swing and a miss for strike 3. A great sequence there from Atherton. A 3-pitch strikeout of Madeline Critch, so she is able to effectively pitch around the leadoff walk. We head now to the top half of the 3rd inning, still looking for our first run, 0-0 in this quarterfinal matchup of the MIAA tournament right here on Milford TV. We've reached the top of the 3rd inning already here in Kingston. Scoreless between the Lady Hawks and the Lady Lakers. Milford bringing the bottom third of their lineup to the plate. Maddie Bonvino was at the dish when Antonio Bonina running for Meg Jakes was caught trying to steal second base. So Bonvino gets a fresh count. And now a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Both of these pitchers working quickly. And now a 2 ball, 1 strike count. Bonvino getting her second straight start, and her second start at second base since the defensive shift that was necessitated after the injury to Captain Jill Powers, who is still sidelined indefinitely with that back injury. She remains with the team. Bonvino taking on the 3-1, and now it is a full count. Here's the payoff pitch, offering it that one and floating it down the third base line, but that one trickles foul. It was in on the hands of Bonvino. So she will head back to try again. Freshman Emily Hartman waiting on deck. Here is the pitch, and that is in for a called strike 3. Bonvino knew it. Couldn't pull the trigger and takes with her the 3rd strikeout for Maddy Barone. So 1 down now for Hartman. She takes the first pitch that just nicks the inside part of the plate. Hartman was backing off by a step, but instead gets the called strike. Now this pitch is sent in the air down the third base line. Barone fielding her position nicely. She's able to make the catch about halfway down that third base line. So the pop out handled by the pitcher, and there are 2 quick outs here in the top of the 3rd. Barone's been getting it done on a low pitch count through these early innings. She's faced the minimum to this point despite giving up a hit last inning. That runner was erased on the caught stealing. And now it's a 1-1 count on Shannon Cormier. She takes a pitch high. Good sharp command out of Barone in the early going. Here's the pitch. High again. So she does fall behind here, 3 balls and a strike, giving Cormier a chance to be patient. Here's the pitch. Instead, she swings away at the 3-1 and fouls it off. And so now we'll see our second full count of the inning. The 3-2 pitch sent hard to the backstop. 3 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. Milford hoping to bring the top of their order back to the plate in this inning. Here's the pitch, and it's on the outside edge for a called strike 3. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Barone, who's now up to 4 in the game. Milford cannot get a base runner in the 3rd. We head to the bottom of the inning, and it is still scoreless here on coverage of the Lady Hawks softball team in the 2016 playoffs here on Milford TV. Allie Atherton returns to the circle for this bottom of the 3rd inning. She'll deal with batters 9, 1, and 2. Anna Batista to get it started. So far, Atherton has allowed a single base runner in each of the first 2 innings, a single in the first, a walk to lead off the second. Now ready to deal with the number 9 hitter. She deals in a pitch maybe a little bit low. And that will be ball 1. A good-looking pitch from our perspective here in the outfield, a chance to see a little bit more of the location of pitches and instead of being in our usual perch out behind the plate. Pitch number 2 of the inning is driven out to center field, but again, Farrell is there to make the catch. And so Batista out number 1 in the inning. So second time through the batting order now for Silver Lake as Kelly Danahy comes up to make her second at bat. The lefty swings at the first pitch and dribbles it straight up through the middle for a one-out single. Seen a lot of balls hit in the air against Atherton, as we've mentioned. All of them going for outs to this point. The only two batters to really make contact on the ground have been the top two batters in the lineup. Danahy getting a hit here. Vedetto, who's now at the plate, singled back in the first inning on a ground ball straight through the middle. And that pitch is in for a called strike. Similar location to what was called a ball to the first batter of the inning. The 0-1 showing bunt is Vedetto, but she fouls it away. No balls and 2 strikes now on Caroline Vedetto. Good speed at first base in Danahy. Something for Atherton to keep in mind. Danahy was off on that last pitch with the bunt play on. She takes off again as this one is grounded up the middle, through for a hit. Touching second base and holding there is Danahy on the single by Vedetto. Back-to-back base hits now for Silver Lake. And Atherton getting into dangerous territory. 2 on with only 1 out, with the middle of the order bats for Silver Lake due up. And before Emily Critch steps into the box, we'll see a full-blown conference take place in the pitcher's circle. This taking place exclusively with the infielders. Coach DeVito still on the sidelines. And Coach DeVito now with that conference continuing, at this time he will come out and join in, wanting to make sure his starting pitcher and his infield are all on the same page. A crucial spot coming up in the game. Emily Critch is due up next. She lined out hard to third base, with Caitlin DeCapua making a very nice defensive play. So the conference now finally breaks up. Critch into the box. The starting catcher for the Lakers in on the right side. The first pitch from Atherton. This is floated in the air behind the plate. Jakes gives it a look, but it is beyond the field of play. Cheering continuing out of the Silver Lake side. The infielders and outfielders for Milford continuing to send their good vibes to their starting pitcher, Allie Atherton. A no ball, 1 strike count on Critch. Here is the pitch. And it's a ground ball down the third base line, fielded by DeCapua. The throw to first base is not going to be in time. That one hit just too slowly. DeCapua did everything she could. Fielded it cleanly, sent a quick throw, but not enough time to get Critch at first base. It'll go as an infield single. And things reaching a critical juncture here now. The base is loaded, 1 out in the inning, and Maddy Barone a chance to help her own cause as she digs in at the plate. Just 1 out in the inning. Atherton's first pitch, and it's sent foul and out of play. Barone flew out to center field her first time up. 3 hits now in the inning for Silver Lake. They have 4 total in the game. Atherton's next offering. This is hit on the ground, foul wide of third base. And so Atherton able to get ahead in the count, but she still has to pitch carefully. The base is full. You don't want to allow a pitch to end up bouncing to the backstop.
like right next to her.
Ready with the 0-2. And it's down low. No chase out of Barone. 1-2 now the count.
I get you out of the shot after frame it really weirdly.
Atherton doing some maintenance work around the pitching rubber before delivering her next pitch, trying to stay focused in here. Base is full of Silver Lake runners. Here is the 1-2 pitch now, and this is hit out to right center field. It's down for a hit. 1 run in, now a second run right behind as the ball is misplayed by Jess Tomaso. She has to reel it in foul territory. No further scoring done, but the runners do advance. A 2-run single, as it turns out, for Maddy Barone. She takes second base on the error by Tomaso on the back end of the play. But 2 runs scored as Danahy and Vedetto cross the plate, and Silver Lake is able to take a quick 2-0 lead, and still a long way to go in the inning. Still just 1 out. Critch now at third with Barone at second. And Hannah Johnson now standing in on the left side. Atherton now needing to regroup. Here's the pitch, and it's hit on the ground in fair territory to third. They will get the runner caught in a rundown, as now they will say no out was made at third base. Everyone gets back to their respective bases. So a nice job by Emily Critch there. She stayed hung up in the rundown long enough. And Maddy Barone, the trail runner, started to attract the attention of Megan Jakes as she fielded the throw. And so that allowed Critch to dive back into the third base bag before the tag was applied. And then Barone was able to scamper back to the second base bag. So a big potential play there for Milford goes by the boards as the bases are reloaded. And now this pitch is driven deep in the air out to left center field, but it will stay in the park as the catch is made out there by Maggie Farrell. The throw comes into third base. It will go as a sacrifice fly for Shannon Grindle to drive in the third Silver Lake run as Critch crosses the plate. So Hannah Johnson is at first base now with Barone at third. Johnson, who reaches on a bizarre infield single. Could also credit it as a sacrifice fly, or excuse me, a force play. And Shannon Grindle following suit with the sac fly, so that play at third base, unable to get the tag down on Critch, really hurts Milford, as that eventually leads to Silver Lake scoring their third run of the inning. Jill Richards, now the 8th batter to come to the plate, fouling a pitch to the backstop. The count 0-2. Richards settles back in. Atherton's pitch, and it's high. The top of the Silver Lake order getting this rally started. The middle of the order bats doing their job. As now this ball is hit in fair territory down the left field line. As Barone will come in from third base on the RBI single from Richards, and that ups the Silver Lake lead to 4-0. Barone crosses the plate. Johnson moves down to second base and then held there. And so Silver Lake really making it hurt. They will bat around here in this third inning. Atherton able to keep the bats quiet through the first 2, but Silver Lake erupting here They have runners at first and second with 2 down for Madeline Critch. Critch taps a pitch foul at the plate. One ball and 1 strike the count. A lengthy inning, a lot of pitches for Atherton. The next offering to Critch. This is softly hit down the first base line. A bobble from Jess Tomaso, and Critch will reach at first base. It was going to be a tough play, even if handled cleanly by Tomaso, because it was hit so softly. But after she bobbled it, there was no chance. Should still go as an error on the first baseman, and that's 2 errors now in this game for Tomaso. Could have been the end of the inning. Instead, it will be the second at bat of the frame. For Madeline, or excuse me, for Anna Batista. Batista takes a called strike. She is down in the count, 0-2. Batista flew out to open up this inning, but then the top of the order bats, as I mentioned, really started to put it together against Atherton. Coach DeVito does have Kelly Reichert warming up behind the third base dugout, as Atherton has labored through this 3rd inning and now takes too much time in the circle. The home plate umpire grants time. It is a no-ball, 2-strike count on Batista, the 10th batter to come to the plate in the bottom of the 3rd. And Milford starting to head to the dugout on that pitch, but it's ruled ball 1. A 4 spot in the inning so far for Silver Lake. They do have the bases loaded here with 2 down. The windup and the pitch, and it is swung on and missed for strike 3. And finally, the inning comes to an end. But again, Silver Lake sends 10 batters to the plate in the bottom of the 3rd. They score 4 times to seize control of this quarterfinal matchup. It is Silver Lake over Milford 4-0 as we head to the 4th inning next here on Milford TV.
Rob, were you saying something?
A different looking game now, as Silver Lake was able to score 4 times in the bottom of the 3rd inning. They now lead this game 4-0. And Milford, who has
pretty much anything behind the line,
had just 1 brief base runner in the game, will try to get something going against Maddy Barone here in the 4th. They will go 2nd time through the lineup, so a chance to make those in-game adjustments. Kate Irwin up for the 2nd time, a count of a ball and a strike. Kate struck out swinging against Barone to open up the game. Unable to make contact here, down 1-2. This pitch now floated in the air, foul and out of play, off to the left. Very warm conditions here in Kingston, but all around you could not ask for a better day for playoff softball. Blue skies overhead, sunny conditions, temperatures right around 80 degrees, no doubt, as this game continues on towards the middle innings. A 2-ball, 2-strike count as Kate Irwin puts up a good fight. Here's the pitch, and it is swung on and missed. So winning the battle eventually was Barone, who now notches her 5th strikeout. She's struck out 3 of the last 4 Milford batters. And so now here is Emily Pierre Gustavo. She takes a pitch down in the dirt for ball 1. Barone had 9 total strikeouts in her last start against Mansfield in the first round of these playoffs. Good contact here from Pierre Gustavo, but it hangs up for the shortstop to make the catch on a line. And there are quickly 2 away in the inning, so Milford trying to find a way to come up with a response here in this inning, but they will need to get it done with 2 away. Jess Tomaso now at the plate, takes the pitch low for ball 1. Tomaso committing 2 errors in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. 1 error on a missed cutoff throw and the other on that dribbler up the first base line. Quickly in an 0-2 hole here, the next pitch. This is hit straight up in the air. It'll stay on the infield where the shortstop Caroline Vedetto makes the catch for the out that ends the inning. So Barone, a shutdown inning as she once again sets Milford down 1-2-3. We will head to the bottom of the 4th inning with Silver Lake still out in front 4-0 here on Milford TV. Coach DeVito sends Allie Atherton back to the circle for the bottom of the 4th inning, where she must deal once again with the top of the Lady Lakers lineup. Kelly Danahy leading off. Atherton not much of a breather in the dugout as Milford went very quickly and quietly in the top of the 4th. Atherton able to deal in strike 1 to Danahy, who is 1 for 2. Her single in the 3rd inning touched off that big 4-run rally. Started a string of 5 consecutive hits. Here she sends a tapper down the first base line. This time Tomaso fields cleanly, and she fires to Bonvino, covering the first base bag for the out. It will end up going 3-4 on the ground out. The leadoff batter retired, and now we go to Caroline Vedetto, who also singled and scored last inning. Working on a perfect 2-for-2 afternoon, also notched a single in the 1st against Atherton. Here she sends one off the end of the bat, but a foul ball. Tomaso dove for it. The infield umpire clearly gesturing that ball foul. No balls and 1 strike. Atherton ready, here is the pitch. Perhaps a little bit inside, a little bit low. And it evens the count at 1. The Silver Lake bench has not sat down at any point in this game. They have been gathered together right by the dugout entrance. They've been engaged from pitch number 1. Atherton fighting back ahead in the count 1-2 against Vedetto. The next pitch, it's fouled down the 3rd base line. Vedetto chasing that one down and out of the strike zone, but she's able to foul it off. There is that Silver Lake bench cheering on Vedetto at the plate. As Atherton readies for another 1-2 pitch, it's popped up out into shallow left center field. It's Bonvino who takes charge and makes the catch, with Cormier and Farrell closing in from behind, but it's the 2nd baseman, Maddy Bonvino, who makes the catch. And there is nothing Allie Atherton would like more than a 1-2-3 quick and easy 4th inning. Now dealing with Emily Critch as this ball again is hit in the air towards Bonvino. She's able to make the catch, and a much better inning for Atherton in the 4th. She sets them down 1-2-3. We head to the top of the 5th inning. Milford needing to mount a comeback, trailing Silver Lake 4-0 here in the quarterfinal round of the Division I South playoff bracket. Brought to you right here on Milford TV. There is no shortage of activity here at the Silver Lake High School Sports Complex. with playoff games happening here on the softball field and right behind us on the baseball field. As the Silver Lake baseball team also poised to make a deep playoff run, a very talented group of players on the baseball squad. No shortage of talent in the athletic department here at Silver Lake, and we're seeing it here on the softball field as Silver Lake has a 4-0 lead on Milford as Maggie Farrell leads off the top of the 5th inning but quickly grounds out. So Barone needs just a single pitch to retire Farrell to open up the 5th. This game really moving at a rapid pace, as now this pitch is fly down the left field line in foul territory. Lands harmlessly foul. Caitlin DeCapo at the plate, 0 for 1. She struck out back in the 2nd inning. Takes a pitch that hugs the inside part of the plate. That control has just been pinpoint for Maddy Barone all game long. Very rarely have we seen her misfire on a pitch. On the 0-2, the ball just barely misses the outside part of the plate. Now DeCapo able to get into this pitch, sending it out to center field, but plenty of room for Madeline Critch to make the catch. About the hardest hit ball we've seen against Barone so far today, but it lands in the mitt of Madeline Critch for out number 2. And Milford, we talk about how quickly this game is progressing. Milford starting to run low on outs remaining in the game. Just 7 outs left to work with to try to mount a 4-run comeback. And certainly we've seen Milford put up a lot of runs in a hurry, but dealing with one of the top high school pitchers in the state and maybe around the nation. As now Meg Jakes with 2 outs in the inning lifts a pitch out to right field, but ranging in is Anna Batista. She is able to make the catch for the out that ends the inning. So yet another 1-2-3 frame. Milford has not had a base runner since back in the 2nd inning. They've only had 1 base runner to speak of on the day. So we will head now to the bottom of the 5th inning. Still 4-0 Silver Lake here on Milford TV. We've seen 3 high-quality innings so far today out of Allie Atherton. The problem is the 1 inning in between was a big one, facing 10 batters in the bottom of the 3rd inning, allowing 4 runs on 6 hits, and that is the difference in the game right now. Silver Lake with a 4-0 lead heading into the later stages of this game. A game that is only roughly 60 minutes old at this point, already into the bottom of the 5th. We talked about it at the close of the top half of this inning. Milford with just a single base runner back in the 2nd inning on a bloop single by Meg Jakes. She was lifted for a courtesy runner, and Antonia Bonina thrown out trying to steal 2nd base. So Maddy Barone has faced the minimum through her first 5 innings of work in the pitcher's circle. She now leads off this inning offensively. Down, no balls and a strike. Now loops a pitch down the left field line, but a foul ball. A lot of fans taking in the game today here at Silver Lake. A large home crowd, but a Milford contingent traveling down here near to the Cape. Most of the Milford fans situated down the left field line as this ball is dribbled out to shortstop. The throw from Pierre Gustavo is not in time. A lot of the little things have gone right for Silver Lake in this game, including a lot of well-placed ground ball hits on the infield. Another one right there as Barone is able to beat out the slow roller to short for an infield single to lead off the 5th. Now Hannah Johnson takes a pitch wide of the strike zone for ball 1. Johnson has been on base twice today, a walk in the 2nd inning, an infield single in that 3rd inning rally, I should say. Now takes a pitch just below that bottom edge of the strike zone. It has not been a terribly large strike zone for Allie Atherton to work with today. The 1-0 pitch with the runner taking off. Looked like the pitch was ruled a ball, as it is now a 3-ball no strike count. And stealing second base uncontested was Barone. So a runner in scoring position with nobody out, and that pitch is in for a strike. Now the 3-1 offering. Chopped out in front of the plate, pounced on by Jakes, but her throw to first base won't get there in time. Back-to-back infield hits for the Lakers. And that one pushes Barone down to third base, runners at the corners with nobody out. Kelly Reichert did warm up a couple of innings ago while Silver Lake was in the midst of their 4-run rally, so she is no doubt ready if Coach DeVito should decide to call upon her in this 5th inning. Runners at the corners for Shannon Grindle, and Grindle takes a pitch on the inside part of the plate for a called strike. That has been an inconsistent part of the strike zone. We've seen at times that pitch called a strike for Atherton, at times called a ball. That time she gets the benefit. As now we will see a courtesy runner at first base, excuse me. Coach Pina relaying that courtesy runner to the home plate umpire before we resume game action. Here now is the pitch. It's a bouncer to second base. The throw to home plate is going to be airmailed by Bonvino. Sailing to the backstop, 1 run comes in. And that will make it 5-0. Milford not doing themselves any favors defensively in this game. Maddie Bonvino pressed into service defensively at second base through these playoffs, and unfortunately making that throwing error, trying to cut down a potential run at the plate. Instead, the run scores, upping the Silver Lake lead to 5-0, and the inning continues still with no outs recorded. So it will go as a fielder's choice and an E4.
No.
And so meanwhile, now 2 runners in scoring position at second and third ahead of Jill Richards, who is currently ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. So the Lakers matching their run total from all of the regular season matchup earlier this season against Milford, scoring 5 runs in a 5-2 victory here at their home field. The pitch from Atherton is down and in, and a very quick walk against Jill Richards, and Coach DeVito now comes out from the sideline. It's the second walk allowed by Atherton, and Coach DeVito will take the ball from the junior starter's hands. She will give way here to the sophomore Kelly Reichert. Atherton getting high fives from Coach Walsh and the bench players for the Lady Hawks. A tough day in the circle for Atherton today. She allows 5 runs and responsible for all 3 runners aboard. with no outs yet recorded here in this 5th inning. So Kelly Reichert inherits a precarious situation, to say the least. We will step aside as she makes her warm-up tosses. Back with more of this bottom of the 5th inning next here on Milford TV. Kelly Reichert ready to go now. Bases loaded. As she deals with the number 8 spot in the Lady Lakers lineup. Madeline Critch, who struck out in the 2nd inning and reached on an error in the 3rd. She taps one right back to the pitcher circle. Reichert throws to the plate for the out there. Jake sends a throw to first base, but not nearly in time to get Critch, but Milford is able to cut down a runner at the plate. And we see a lot of that with Reichert in the game. We see a lot of tappers right back into the circle, and Reichert, a sure-handed fielder, so she is immediately able to get the first out of this inning, but still a long way to go. So fielder's choice for Critch. She is safe at first base as one runner was cut down at the plate. The base is reloaded now with Grindle at 3rd, Richards at 2nd, and Madeline Critch at first base. A no-ball, 1-strike count on Anna Batista, who is 0 for 2. Operating out of the number 9 spot. Here's the pitch. It's a ground ball to third base, gobbled up quickly by DeCapua, and again Milford is able to fire to home to cut down the runner there. DeCapua playing in tight at third base, and once again we see the good hands out of DeCapua at third, fielding that cleanly and firing home. So for the 2nd straight play, Milford cuts down that would-be runner at the plate. And now a chance for Kelly Reichert to get out of this inning without any more damage done and possibly give Milford a bit of a momentum boost heading into the late innings. But first having to deal with the leadoff batter here in Kelly Danahy, who lines one but right to short, caught by Emily Pierre-Gustavo, and terrific work out of the bullpen for Kelly Reichert. She gets 3 outs without giving up a run, keeping the bases loaded in the process. Terrific work. Milford will now try to go back to work at the plate. They have 2 innings left to try to mount a comeback. 5-0 the score right now. Coverage of the 2016 MIAA playoffs here on Milford TV. Already into the top of the 6th inning, Maddy Barone wasting no time, dealing in strike 1 to the number 7 batter, Maddie Bonvino. The 0-1 pitch, trying to check her swing. And so Bonvino now ahead in the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. That is the count. And the pitch high. This is the 2nd time today that Bonvino has found herself in a good hitter's count. The last time Barone was able to eventually win the battle on a called strike 3. Here Bonvino fouls the pitch up and over the backstop, so the count now runs full. Bonvino, Hartman, and Cormier, the 3 batters expected here in the 6th inning. Here's the pitch, and this is tomahawked down the left field line, but foul. Catching the attention of the Milford fans, who again have gathered in the bleachers and on lawn chairs down the left field line. Making the hour drive from Milford out here to Kingston, Mass. Here's another 3-2 pitch. This is hit, a sinking line drive to shortstop, but plucked out of the air by Vedetto. So 1 down now for Emily Hartman. 0 for 1, she popped out to the pitcher her first time up. Takes a hack at that first pitch and lines it to the backstop for strike 1. And now late on the cut. And Hartman is down 0-2. The freshman making her second straight start in the playoffs. Operating out of the designated player's role here, she takes a pitch that just misses, sending the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now swings at this one, pops it up in foul territory behind third base. Anna Johnson there to make the play. Milford down to just 4 outs left in this game, trailing 5-0. Shannon Cormier trying to get something going. Looked like she wanted to turn to bunt. Kept the bat over the shoulder and took strike 1. This is as quiet as we have seen this Milford offense all season. Shut out just 1 time in the regular season. That was that tough 12-0 defeat at the hands of King Philip back on May 10th. An offense that scored 188 runs throughout the regular season. But held silent so far as this ball trickles up the middle. That is through for a base hit. It got underneath the glove of Barone and snuck out into center field, so Shannon Cormier collects just the 2nd Milford hit of the game. And that will turn the lineup over as Kate Irwin will step to the plate for the 3rd time. Kate had a perfect day at the plate 2 days ago against New Bedford. 3 hits and also a walk. Here she drops a bunt down in front of the plate. The throw to first base gets there and beats Kate Irwin by a running step. Oh boy, is that unusual. Kate Irwin able to get the bunt down right where she wanted it. But a terrific play out of Silver Lake is able to get the throw there just in time. So Milford gets the 2-out base hit, but that is all. We will head to the bottom of the 6th, and it stays 5-0 in favor of Silver Lake here on Milford TV. Kelly Reichert will once again try to hold the Silver Lake bats in check to give Milford one last chance for a comeback. Reichert will deal with batters 2, 3, and 4 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Tim Coette here on the call for Milford TV, bringing you this quarterfinal matchup. As on the first pitch, Reichert able to induce a ground ball right back to her. And Reichert sends the throw to first, getting Vedetto quickly. 1-3 on the ground out. Reichert brings a very different dynamic to the pitcher's circle than Allie Atherton. Much more a pitch to contact pitcher for this Scarlet Hawks staff. Not quite the velocity of Atherton. Relies on deception, relies on good command and location. She's done a terrific job so far, facing 4 batters, retiring them all, inheriting that very difficult situation last inning, bases loaded and nobody out, and was somehow able to get 3 quick outs without allowing any additional Silver Lake runs. That pitch up and out of the strike zone. She does fall behind here in this at bat against Emily Critch. 2 balls and 1 strike the count. Critch 1 for 3 so far on the day, reached on an infield single back in the 3rd. She sends this pitch in the air behind first base. It stays on the infield dirt where Jess Tomaso makes the catch.
Sorry, wasn't near me. I just didn't.
2 gone in the bottom of the 6th inning. As we look ahead to the top of the 7th, Milford will have their big bats coming to the plate. Emily Pierre Gustavo, Jess Tomaso, and Maggie Farrell, as they look to make one last stand. But first we have to conclude things here in the 6th. 2 outs and the base is empty now for Maddy Barone. And Barone looks at strike 1 from Reichert. Maddy reached on an infield single, stole second base, and then came around to score in the bottom of the 5th inning to give Silver Lake the 5-0 lead they currently possess. The 2-0 pitch, low and inside. Correction on the count now, 2 balls and 1 strike. The next offering from Reichert, it's hit through the right side of the infield. Shannon Cormier with eyes possibly towards sending a throw to first base. That ball was hit so hard, but a brief bobble, and that took that out of the equation. It goes as a single for Barone, who is now 3 for 4 on the day. Barone also with a 2-run single back in the 3rd inning. So once again, Silver Lake's biggest star shining the brightest here on this day with 3 hits, 2 runs batted in, 2 runs scored, and also 6 shutout innings in the circle. Milford fans seeing a player dominant in both the circle and at the plate. You can't help but think back a couple of years ago to Shannon Smith, also a Gatorade Player of the Year winner. Hannah Johnson now at the plate as this inning continues. She's been on base 3 times, a pair of infield singles and a walk. Johnson ahead in the count here, 2 balls and 1 strike. Reichert allowing a 2-out single. It's the first hit she has allowed since coming into the game.
13.
It's the 10th hit in all for Silver Lake as this ball is dribbled down the first base line. Tommaso makes the play herself for the out that ends the inning, so Silver Lake does not score in the bottom of the 6th inning, but they will carry a 5-0 lead into the 7th. Milford with one last chance to mount a desperation rally. It will be Emily Pierre-Gustavo who leads it off when we come back next here on Milford TV. Pierre-Gustavo leads it off here in the top of the 7th inning. She takes a called strike 1 against Maddy Barone, who has faced just 1 batter over the minimum. And Pierre-Gustavo lifts a pitch out to left field, ranging now towards foul ground, and it clanks off the glove of Caroline Vedetto, the shortstop, ranging out onto the outfield grass towards foul territory. But she is unable to secure the ball in her glove, so Pierre-Gustavo will have another chance. Now this ball is hit on the ground, a rangy play for Vedetto here. The throw bounces in the dirt at first base, and Pierre-Gustavo is able to beat it out. And immediately the Milford fans erupt into a cheer. They have not had much to cheer about offensively in this game. But Emily Pierre-Gustavo given a second chance at life at the plate. She's able to send a ground ball to deep short and beat out the throw to first base for an infield single, just the 3rd Milford hit.
He's Jewish and a woman.
The first time Milford has had the leadoff batter on base.
And gay.
And now Jess Tommaso up there, 0 for 2, a ground out and a pop out. Up with an even count of 1-1. As the sun continues to pop in and out from behind the clouds. Right now the field cast in shadow.
Second person all day to get on.
2 balls and a strike. The next pitch on the way, inside. Barone has not had to worry about base runners nearly at all in this game. The next pitch, that is up and in for ball 4. The first walk of the game for Maddy Barone, and the first 2 Milford batters have reached here in the 7th. This is energizing the Milford bench. It's already energized the Milford fans. 2 aboard, and now Maggie Farrell steps in.
I know it doesn't. I know it switches by itself. I know that. But if something bad happens, you end up having to edit that way.
Farrell looking at a first pitch strike. Now takes that one a little bit low, evening the count at 1-1.
I know.
Farrell always with a flair for the dramatic, as we have said, takes a pitch, a late strike call given by the umpire on a questionable pitch. Now a swing and a miss from Farrell, and she goes down. The 6th strikeout for Barone, but just her first K since the 4th inning.
Yep.
So Farrell unable to get it done, now 1 out in the inning. And now here's Caitlin DeCapua. DeCapua takes the first pitch for a ball. And now a big swing and a miss. DeCapua trying to deliver 3 quick runs for the Lady Hawks on that swing, but does not make contact. 1 ball and 1 strike. Now sending that pitch clanking off of one of the posts on the backstop.
Repeat.
And a 1 ball, 2 strike count. Barone trying to battle back after Milford saw their first 2 runners reach. Now 1 out in the inning, and this pitch is a line drive. It is caught by the shortstop Vedetto, and the runners are able to just get back to their respective bases. Pierre Gustavo at second, Tommaso at first. Vedetto with eyes on a potential game-ending double play, but good reaction time from the Milford base runners, so they retreat to their bags now with 2 down, and the last hope for the Lady Scarlet Hawks on this 2016 playoff run is the captain, Megan Jakes. She takes that pitch for a called strike, 1-1 the count. Meg with 1 of the Milford hits. It came back in the 2nd inning. Here's the pitch, a swing and a miss. And Milford season down to 1 final strike, 1-2 the count. 2 outs, 2 runners aboard. Barone's next pitch, and it's a tapper, slowly hit to shortstop. Vedetto, the underhand shuffle toss to third base. She will get the force out there, and that is how the 7th inning comes to an end, and that is how the 2016 year will come to an end for the Milford Scarlet Hawks. They made a bid for a comeback here in the 7th inning with an infield hit and a walk to start off the frame, but then a strikeout by Maggie Farrell, and then outs by Caitlin DeCapua on a line out to shortstop, and Meg Jakes grounding into a force play to end the game. And so Silver Lake is able to come out on top here, defending their home turf, winning this game by a final score of 5-0. So this undefeated Silver Lake team, their undefeated run here in the playoffs continues. A victory in the first round over Mansfield, and now they make it 2 consecutive postseason victories over Hockomock League opponents, as they defeat the Lady Hawks today again by a final score of 5-0. So a difficult end to the season. The 2nd year in a row the season comes to an end here in Kingston. A very hard pill to swallow for the team as they gather out in left field as they do at the conclusion of each game. Still smiles on some of the faces out there, no doubt still proud of the work that they were able to put in this year. 16 victories on the regular season, a strong showing against New Bedford just a couple of days ago in the first round, as now co-captain Jill Powers joins the team in the outfield, still on crutches. An unfortunate situation that Jill was not able to suit up with the team during this postseason run. But again, that run comes to an end here today. And we want to extend a big thank you to all of our crew on hand for the game today. This crew has been extremely hard working with us throughout most of our entire sports season since all the way back in the fall. Tim Raciti, our technical director, Malcolm Zale, our camera operator at first base, and of course our executive director and camera operator for this game, Rob O'Keefe, down the third base line. What a terrific job this crew has done all season long, bringing you quality coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. We also want to thank Anthony Mazzini, who has helped out through some of the games throughout this spring sports season. And I am Tim Coette. That final score, one final time, Milford's season comes to an end here at Silver Lake as the Lady Lakers defeat Milford by a final score of 5-0. We thank you so much for tuning in to our coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics all season long. We want to remind you that we will be on air this summer with Milford Legion baseball coverage, and then of course we'll be back when the Scarlet Hawks take the field in the fall sports season in the fall of 2016. Until then, I am Tim Coette. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.